So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast. Richard, it's great to have you on the show.
And I'm so happy to be with you today. I love your work, and I just had to reach out and let you know I'd love to be a guest and to pay it forward to you and your amazing audience.
Well, thank you, Richard. Well, Richard, tell the listeners about you and how did you start the Costa Rica call center?
Well, my friend, my story began back in Northeast Philadelphia. My
Mhm,
favorite class in school was Spanish. So when I graduated the proud Abington High School, I doubled down on it and was a Spanish major at the University of Arizona.
mhm,
So I was building on momentum. There was a lot of positive reinforcement there, and you can always tell when someone says go, go, go and gives you really good energy.
mhm,
Well, I was constantly getting that sort of reinforcement and vocabulary words, and people were teaching me about different cultures. So it gave me expansion and depth. I had some essence, Cleanne, things I didn't have before growing up in a certain bubble. So when I was 27 years old, I was given a one in a million opportunity to move to Costa Rica and work at my friend's call center and teach English. And of
mhm.
course, we're going to take it. You and I love
Oh,
adventure.
yeah.
It was the perfect time for it too. I know about where you lived in Canada and came from the Caribbean. You have a great story to tell of twists and turns. So
Well,
it's a lot of fun to travel the world and to learn different experiences.
so, how was that like when you moved to Costa Rica? How was the feeling and the culture, and was it different?
Well, Clan, that's a wonderful question. Costa Rica has an expression. They say pura vida, which means pure life. It's ecotourism. So you're talking about natural, beautiful rainforests with flowers and the plants and the natural beauty of this paradise. And so you're overwhelmed. And after the honeymoon stage wears off and you realize you're living there, you start to explore more places, just not the touristy areas.
Yeah.
And so when you're sitting underneath a palm tree by a waterfall with the love of your life, having a wonderful day, you really become one with so many things and you shed some skin and you
Mhm,
want more of it. And so how is Costa Rica? Well,
mhm,
I had to get past certain expectations and parents' guilt,
mhm,
decided to make some roots there and learn the business from the inside out to give myself stability.
mhm,
And between me and you, and even my mama sitting next to me, I needed a little bit more maturity in order to make certain decisions to live the rest of my life. These were things you had to make the full dedication and to understand your limits. And I had to be exceptionally realistic. I wasn't going to be a doctor or a lawyer. But when
mhm,
I learned the call center industry at my friend's job, I realized I could do it. But the difference was I extended more empathy and I wanted to know that people had their dignity. And the greatest leaders are the ones that started at a certain level so they can understand what people are going through and they can relate even better and have anchors. And so I earned the respect of not only moving here and building a business, but expanding on their English to make it more marketable, more confident, more self reliant. So while they're with me, their car gets shinier and might run a little bit better
mhm,
and they'll have more fun because half of that is a beautiful balance of work and play because I do collect pinball machines and it's
mhm.
very important for me to play prior to any training or certain days. And that's where best friends are made, my friend. And so those are the sort of ideas that I had for my foundation in business.
Okay. So right now, are you in Costa Rica or no? You're
Oh
not.
no.
Okay,
This is
okay.
a very special episode with the Beauty of Colors podcast. I'm not in my usual studio with my jukebox and candy machine. I'm visiting my mother in Arizona, and so this is an actual home
Okay.
studio. And you're
Mhm.
seeing some of the beautiful work they have of Kachina dolls and
Okay.
Southwestern things here. And so it's a very, very special trip with even extra special energy today.
Okay, excellent. So what services does your company offer? Is it only in Latin America, or are those services offered throughout North America and South America?
Just like any industry, it's global. So I
Mm-hmm.
do compete against the Philippines and India. So
Mm-hmm.
my services are the same as any call center in the world. The difference is, Cleanne, is the ethics.
Mhm.
Am I compromising them, doing something gray area or illegal? Like when you see Hollywood, the call centers will show sports books, casinos, stocks, pharmacy, sweepstakes, and they'll glamorize and glorify that. But there's a lot of amazing individuals that
Mhm.
make and receive phone calls at companies. It doesn't have to be the size of a call center. But these individuals make money for companies by retaining a client, doing an upsell, getting a referral, or if a mistake has been made, getting that information from an exit interview so they can improve upon that and not make that mistake twice. And
Mhm.
so as an owner, I offer things that I know that people can fulfill. I'm exceptionally selective with campaigns that come in, but we do sales and appointment setting, lead generation, inbound customer support, back office support, even non-voice support. And a lot of people are depending now, Clan, on AI, which is omni-channel non-voice support like chats and emails and bots. I see that, my friend, is more gathering the information, and then they bring it to us in the kitchen to cut, slice, and dice and to serve it out there. I need that human touch. I will always press zero to speak with somebody because I might be disclosing something personal. I might be emotional,
Mhm.
and I don't want latency of putting in a trouble ticket or having to keep repeating the information because the computer can't get my accent.
Yeah, true.
You know, I mean, come on, sometimes you get a free dessert if you're nice. And so there might be a very good chance that my situation not only could get resolved, but I'm going to teach you and your audience $1 million secret. It's the positive escalation. When somebody assists me and lends a hand, I will make sure that their colleagues and supervisors hear about this either in writing or verbally. I'm not looking for the free cappuccino. It does happen. But I
Mhm.
do know this. When I happen to call that company back and that individual answers the phone, they will remember me over 1,000 people because my color was the brightest. And secondly, they will say, Richard, out of all the years working here, you're the only one that really said something to Cleanne.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate that. And so I don't angle my way in on relationships. I do things naturally. And by paying it forward, by recognizing people's efforts and letting them know that I see this and taking that time, that is a better foundation than just giving you a discount on my contract. People are looking for the long play and a real serious individual. And
Mhm.
so maybe those are the sort of tests. If I can treat somebody a certain way, then imagine what happens when we work together. And so I don't like when people speak down to others or have their egos in the way, because stripped down, who are you? And I always believe people can shine in their own natural way.
Mhm.
Even a smile and a wave to somebody is one of the greatest things, even if you want to be cheesy. Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
But it's sending peace. And what's so sad, Cleanne, that I've tried, I was with my supervisor the other day. We were at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I was looking at the supervisor. This was in Costa Rica. This guy's name was Pablo. And I said to Fabian, I go, hey, listen, I bet you $5 I'm going to make this guy smile because he's too serious. So he walks over. I'm like, hey, Don, Don Carlos, you're doing a great job today. And he just looked up and he just said thank you and kept working. And then I said, oh, your food's the best. And he just wouldn't say anything. I go, man, I'm gonna lose $5. And then and I come back one time, I go, here's my final shot. I go, I just really want to thank you for this extra effort in putting these bags together and giving me this ketchup. Please look at my smile and smile back.
Mhm.
And he couldn't do it. And my supervisor said, this guy hates his job. And I go, you know what? 2 years ago, when he first started out, he loved his job. And he must have been the guy that was smiling the most and clicking his heels.
Mhm.
What got him to that position? He lost. And I'm very concerned about that angle that happens to people. And so I always believe, my friend, in right bus, right seat. You never want to force a fit.
Mhm.
And people will stay naturally. It's like a bird with an open cage. They will come back. There's always leverage.
Mhm.
And so why am I telling you this? Because it really made an impression on me. This man was in charge of 30 strong. And you can whistle while you work. You can put a chest out. You
Mhm.
can be the leader that we're looking for, because trust me, we all are as tired as you are. But you need to one to shine in that bird in the front that leads us to happy pastures. That's who you and I are, my friend.
So, Richard, it's all about building relationships before you kind of approach somebody about maybe a business offer. It's like kind of building relationship with that person first. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do. But a lot of people do it in a superficial way. I always believe that if you're leaving a voicemail or writing an email, you should do a little bit of due diligence prior. For an example, your audience doesn't know, I put my mom to meet you before this podcast because we were not only reading about you, but we were just talking about you all throughout breakfast while we were eating our flapjacks. It was amazing. Mom, make me another one. Listen to this. And so we were excited. And so when you meet somebody for the first time, you really build an incredible amount of momentum. So instead of starting from scratch, it's almost like best friends. Your reputation preceded you. And there are so many areas in which we could have in common that you can just choose. And so I found that it's authentic. People are almost taken back when you do mention things about them, not to try to get money from them or to be their best friend, but because we do have something in common. And I do these things as well. And when you can separate that, then you can really have a special relationship. And so people might think it's magic dust or I'm doing something that is cutting a corner. No, all I'm doing is preparing myself so we can just find a way to catch each other and see if we can slow down a bit to make a lasting impression to start that relationship. So we do communicate via email or phone call or just even thoughts. And so I always believed that that was a nice thing to do, is
Mhm.
to show that sort of authentic interest where it's not just surface. You have second and third follow-up questions or in-depth questions for clarification, just to show that you really are there. And that's how I've been able to win a lot of the times.
Wow, that is wonderful, Richard. How can the listeners visit one of your call centers? Can they do like a virtual visit, or do they have to be in Costa Rica to actually visit your call center?
The only way I'm going to give them permission is if they mentioned your name. That's the secret password. Knock, 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 Costa Rica's call center. Can I come visit? What's the password? Clean, beauty of colors. Coming right in. Come on, you gotta open it up. Who is it? you know? Hi, Clan, you're so funny. Listen, I would love to meet your amazing audience. Most people don't even like telemarketers. I'm here just to shatter any sort of misconceptions. I'm a business owner. I pay it forward. I feed families. I'm in a
Mhm.
very strict Catholic country, so I make sure the campaigns that come in, people can go home and tell their beautiful mother what they do for a living. But I really want to teach them diplomatic vocabulary. I'll give you the best example, and this is a wonderful way to adjust tones and readjust colors. May I help you? It's all right, but the word help, meh, it's really not a comfortable pair of sneaks, is it? I don't like it.
Yeah.
I prefer the thesaurus because that can always power up my words. It's a better spice on my food because I know you like to
Oh,
cook.
yeah.
And so I choose juicy words. I like words like assist, guide, and my favorite, which is a visual image streaming, because you're a
Mhm.
storyteller, lending a hand. Anytime I can use imagination and
Mhm.
such colorful, descriptive vocabulary. So our speech is not a print, Cleanne, it becomes a painting.
Mhm.
Isn't that beautiful, the dance of speech of what we do?
Yeah, it
And
is.
so I really stress that sort of foundation
Mhm.
when I naturally select the individuals that come into my center to spend time with me. I give them benefit of the doubts. I know things happen outside the office and they're also young and having fun, but I want them to be able to master a certain level. So I've done my job.
Wow, Richard. So, where can the listeners get in touch with you, and how do they sign up for your services?
So funny, but I will tell you, they buy a plane ticket and they fly to Costa Rica and come visit me.
I
You
would love
gotta come down. I know you're coming to visit. You just let me know. We'll pick you up at the airport. And so, your audience, I would love to have them here. And I could even share with them the ecotourism we have. And just for your audience to know, we are north of Panama, south of Nicaragua. Costa Rica is the only democratic society in Central America. In Limon, Costa Rica, on the Caribbean side, there's a
Mhm.
lot of influence there. In fact, my favorite beach is Puerto Viejo, which is the
Ooh.
best surfing, music, and food in all of Costa Rica. But there's no army clear, so they put their money back into education with a 95% literacy rate. Costa Rica has a neutral accent,
Mhm,
English accent, and the best infrastructure. So that's why Amazon, HP, Intel, and Oracle are there. And
mhm,
I compete against the big boys, 100 times my size. But do you know how I keep people? It's by playing pinball with them and knowing their name and investing in them. But the reality is you may lose some people sometimes, but it's more natural attrition. If
mhm,
my best friend works at Amazon, if it's closer to my home, the
mhm,
schedule might be better because I go to the university. Or if I'm super duper talented and can bite an apple when I juggle, then I might be able to earn some more money. And so, of course, there's opportunities out there. And so, as long as they don't peace out and give me a respectable 2 weeks notice, because if you start strong, you may end strong with me. I'm okay with that.
mhm,
Just do it the right way so you can look in my eyes and we can be proud of one another that we got better by
mhm,
spending time with each other. And that's one way they can get in touch with me. And the second is I have a very large Facebook fan page of 132,000. And
mhm,
so when this goes live, you're going
mhm,
to have even more huge fans that love the work that you do, Clan. And so it's
mhm.
my pleasure. And I can't thank you enough. Your podcasts are always the best and the brightest.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. Oh, so Richard, do you have any last words for the listeners about creating a life that they deserve and desire?
I most certainly do. I want your amazing audience not to be hard on themselves. Okay? Regardless of the outcome of any day. And it doesn't have to be financial, it could be emotional, spiritual, physiological. Just remember that if you do that day with honorable intentions and good faith, look at yourself at the end of the day in the mirror, give yourself five, and be proud of yourself. You should be making beds in the morning, so you have that done. You should be eating better, so you feel better, you treat yourself better. Maybe some exercise, stretching, or meditation. Why do I sound like a drill instructor and your father grilling you? I'm not saying it like that. These are just sort of the structure and disciplines, not the motivation that comes and goes.
Yeah.
The structure and the discipline and the dedicated practice. Young lady, you know exactly what
Mhm.
I am talking about in order to get those sort of results for yourself. And so there's no shortcuts in life. We know that it's a distance, but it just doesn't have to be a forced march. You can wear comfortable shoes, have the wind in your back, and maybe some currents in the water to move you along. There are certain times you're given natural gifts where the stars are aligned. And so I believe you should take advantage of those moments and you should embrace them. And then when you're in a moment where you have the leverage, you should pay it forward as much as possible, almost like Halloween candy. Give them as much as they can put in that bag and move them along. And so I'm in a certain stage of my life where all I want to do is to get people to have more balance and more structure and core. So when they leave me, they have that sort of energy and stability to be able to go their own distances. And so that's my advice. When you are capable of passing that flame on your candle, please pass that to the next person. Pass that beautiful energy if you're capable, just like you have done for me today, Cleanne. Yeah,
Wow, Richard. Well, thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast, Richard.
I love the Beauty of Colors podcast. You got to be kidding me. I'm a huge fan. I wrote you, didn't I? And told you how amazing you were, of course. I'm sure you get a lot of fan mail. I don't know how I made the cut, but I did. And that's why I'm here today, sharing these amazing stories with you.
Thanks, Richard.
No, but this was a lot of fun. I mean, my mom had the best time hanging out. Wave hi to Cleanne one more time. And my beautiful mom is sitting next to me. Wave hi
Hi,
to Cleanne.
Jane. Hi, Jane.
Thank you for listening to Beauty of Colors podcast. We hope you enjoyed the program, and for more information, be sure to visit www.cleannejohnson.com.